As we have already seen in introduction that alias is important aspect. Alias in firewall section, you can see here these are some of the aliases which are by default created. So aliases will help you to have the group of IP addresses, group of networks. For example, I have the IP addresses for my devices. Suppose I want to apply a firewall policy on all the devices which are related to me. Or if you have the web servers, for example, you want to have the IP addresses of all the web servers added, and that web servers will be your alias. So whatever policies you want to apply on all the web servers, you will not need to do it one by one. You can just add those web servers into alias, and then you can apply the firewall rule to that alias. So here we will only look at the alias, how we can create it. I will simply click on add, and I will give it a name, for example, Amjad devices, and this will be hosts. So you can either have hosts, ports, networks, and all of that. I will be creating as hosts. These hosts will be 172.16.1.12 and comma 172.16.1.13. So here are the categories. Of course, we have not yet created the categories. So if you create the categories, you can then see it here. For example, you can create the categories of servers, laptops, desktops, phones, and so on. But I have not created any category. I will leave it default. So I will mention here Amjad. So maybe I want to create a specific firewall rule for these. And here, of course, dash is not allowed. You can do underscore. So Amjad devices. Here you can see now Amjad devices is added, and it is hosts in fact, and it is containing two specific IP addresses here. So whatever firewall policy I want to apply, I can apply on this particular devices. I can also create a range. For example, I will just add a new, and I will name it, for example, kids underscore devices, and I will give it the host, and these hosts will be 172.16.1.50, for example, to 172.16.1.59, for example. So this is the range which I have added. So you can see here that this specific range is added over here. You can of course add one by one also all the devices, and also you can add the range as well. I want to also add, for example, Amjad devices. So these devices will also be added over here. Combined this plus this devices. So you can see here that kids device will contain these all. So Amjad devices plus other IP addresses. So I will be just going back here. I will say kids devices, and I will simply go back here and save the changes. Now, of course, I need to make sure that all the kids devices will be falling under this particular range, so that we can do in the DHCP leases or static leases. How you can do it, I have explained you already in the KEA DHCP. Possibilities are limitless. You can add the networks, you can add the ports. For example, if I see web server ports, so you will add those web server ports, for example, 80.443. These will be two web server ports for web servers. So this way you can add the ports also. You can see here now this particular alias is created for ports. I can add one more network here. For example, I will say this is home lab, and it will be a network 10.11.12.0/24 home lab. Save the changes. Similarly, I can create a guest network also. So it will be guest underscore network, and it will be again a network. So it will be easy for us to create the firewall rules. For example, I will say here the networks, and that network will be 172 or 192.168.50.0/24. Save the changes. Now you can see we have added multiple aliases here. So there are aliases related to port, network, there are aliases related to hosts, and we can also create the aliases related to URLs also. So URLs or URL table, we'll look at that also once we start creating advanced filtering rules. So let us continue to next video where we will look at other aspects of firewall.